Aloha.
It's telling me to rotate this phone. Why?
Oh no. Maybe flip it the other way.
No, it did it.
Oh, okay.
Well, hello.
Hello.
So today, I've been waiting for this. Welcome, Time Warp Tuesday. We have a special guest. You guys know who it is. It's Tony Muggs. I'm so excited, you guys. So those of you on Facebook, please let us know. We're using new microphones that you can hear us. Can you go on to Facebook?
Yep.
We're using new microphones, so please give us a thumbs up or something that you can hear us, that we look the right way. We're trying something new with a guest. We probably shouldn't do that, but we did.
Yeah, you can hear us perfect.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay,
All right,
awesome.
cool.
All right, so we're here with Tony Muggs, and those of you from Metro Detroit may have heard of one, if not all, of the bands he's affiliated with.
I have many.
Yes, most of you know. Oh, thank you, Maria. Most of you know the Muggs and Dude, but you were in a lot more than that.
Yeah. Currently, I'm in 5 bands. I said 4 was too much.
Yeah, I saw-
5 was too
Mm-hmm.
much, and 4 was just enough in my book. But now I just joined the Hourlies, and I'm having a blast with those guys. The original rock band, riff
Awesome.
rock, blues
And
rock.
you brought one of their
Yeah, this is one of their
Singles?
previous. No, it's actually an EP, 4 songs. They had a Signs. I think this is Signs, and they have another vinyl called Symptoms. I think Symptoms is still in print, but this one's sold out. So lucky me. And they're just wonderful, human beings and talented guys that
Awesome.
I just fell into. Ben Kay, who he was in Dude with me.
Uh-huh.
And then we parted ways, and then he invited me to be in the Hourlies, and it's just worked out famously. And
That's awesome.
we're tracking a new album right now called "Live with Yourself or Die Trying." So it's been great.
Very nice. That's cool. So, we asked Tony to come onto the show. Tony's a customer here. He's came in one day. We started talking, and you guys may have
This
seen.
one.
Yeah. You may have seen a quick little blurb we did
Yeah.
on Instagram. And, we started talking, and I thought his story was so compelling because there's a lot more to Tony Muggs than the Muggs and than his extreme talent that he has in music. And so we wanted to bring him on, and we wanted to talk about music because I am music. Everything is music to me. I ran a music store for decades.
That's awesome.
Warehouse Music in San Francisco. You've spent your time in California trying to become famous, right?
That was the plan.
It was the plan. So tell us, and both Jasmine and I have questions for him, but we're not going to overwhelm him with those. So I want you to tell us how music changed your life and what made you decide that music was the path you wanted to take.
Ever since I was young, I gravitated towards music. And it was in every corner of my house. And playing basketball, like downstairs in my basement, I always had a tape player, and it was either Thriller or just something interesting to listen to. I was always enamored with music. And so when I got into high school, I met Danny Muggs in high school, but we weren't musicians in high school, which is
Right.
odd. We kind of, as I always like to say, we were late to the prom. We picked up our instruments at like 18 years old, and the only reason I picked up my instrument because Danny made it look so much like so fun.
Right.
He was up at Michigan State, and he wanted to learn acoustic guitar, so he made it look so much fun that I wanted to do it, and that's how we started. And then he talked me into playing the bass, and he had to come home for some, he dropped out of college, and then I loved it because now I have my best friend with
Right.
me, and so we formed our first original rock band. It wasn't good, but everyone starts somewhere,
Everybody does start somewhere.
and then we're also in love with the blues. So that's how the Muggs formed eventually,
Right.
after like several years.
So you were in some other bands. You and Danny were in some other bands.
Yeah, our first blues band was called Vince Knight and the Days, and Danny and I were the Days.
Were the Days part.
Daze, because we were always stoned. But we were just having lust for life, and And that band served the function of, we learned every standard that you need to know, 3 sets or more of every blues standard. And then we kind of outgrew that band, you know. And so the next blues band was called the Detroit Underground Blues Band.
Yep, I have that on here too.
And they were tremendous. Cece was just this gorgeous voice and tremendous
So
persona.
in the Detroit Underground Blues Band, you had a female front singer?
Yes, Cece Collins.
Cece Collins.
She's still around. She travels from Atlanta and Detroit. She's a she straddles both cities.
Right.
Comes. I haven't talked to her in a minute, but we do still talk. The guy that got us all together, LZ, he passed away several years ago, but he was a good guy.
Awesome.
But Danny and I really excelled, and we started writing our own songs in that band, and just those are some good.
From the Detroit Underground Blues Band, the Muggs developed.
Yes,
In a way.
in a way, because we had this band called Fat Belly Brown,
Yeah.
and that was our first original band.
Correct. Yep.
And I was the lead singer, and Danny was the lead guitar player. And Danny is just amazing from like Jump Street. I mean, in 6 months, he's teaching himself how to solo, and it's meaningful, and it's all based on the blues. And so his journey with mine was just we were trying to write these interesting songs that kind of sounded like what the '90s were presenting at the time.
Right.
You know, a couple of our favorite bands were STP and Smashing Pumpkins, and
I read that in your
Soundgarden.
book. Yeah.
All tremendous bands in my estimation. But we didn't have like the 2 other guys. They weren't on board as much as we were. So we kind of put that band down, and then Danny and I were a team. So
Right.
he said, "You know what, Tone? I want to do something, and I want to lead sing." And I'm like, "Fine, I'll just be backups. I'll
Right.
just be the bass player," because I was, my journey as a bass player, I was gaining on it, and studying John Paul Jones and
Right.
Greg Ridley from Humble Pie and all of my heroes. And so I just wanted to be the best bass player I could and help out my best friend and
Awesome.
do what I could.
Do you have a question? One thing you'll see with our show Time Warp Tuesday is we go back and forth with our questions, and we'll throw out did you know and stuff like that, just for entertainment value. And go ahead. Do you have a question?
I do, yeah. And
Okay.
it's kind of like to follow up with what your answer is right now. So while you were kind of self-teaching yourself to learn the bass, was there any minor hiccups that you hit along the way that you were just like, ugh, I really am just not, this is not the route I plan on taking. This is not I'm not feeling it.
I never once thought that. It was funny though that you mentioned it, because I'm a songwriter in my own right, and I'm always thinking about melody. But once Danny had asked me if I would go to the bass, I stopped focusing on guitar solos and melody, and only focused on bass lines.
For sure.
And that really opened up my eyes, because it was like, wow, the bass can affect a song in so many ways.
100%.
And just the mood of the song, and just the ferocity, and especially being in a 3-piece band, you have to know when to push and when to pull back.
Absolutely.
So it was fascinating to me. Music's always been magical, in that respect. So
I always say to myself too, and I always take it as such a compliment, like a handful of my friends say, if there was a real life soundtrack, they would give me that opportunity to make the soundtrack for their life. And I love that, because like
That's trust.
Yes, for sure. It's a lot of trust, 100%. My parents are older, so I get a lot of my music inclination and just mindset from them too. So I was just curious if that type of musical mishap kind of came up and you were just like, oh, this was like not in my plans to like play the bass, but now I guess I kind
I
of
just go with the flow. I've always been that way. Maybe it's the middle child
For
syndrome,
sure.
but I've always, and even
I know that syndrome.
even
Yeah, same.
even when I had my stroke, it was just like, I tried not to, I just tried. I'm not going to curse anyone. Just go with the flow. This is what I have moving forward, and it's been a great ride, because my disability, if you want to call it that, has opened up like so many doors for me in terms of like using my mind, like so I can't physically play certain things, so but I can imagine certain things.
Absolutely.
So now I have a symphony going on in my head, and I can imagine horns, I can imagine strings. I really, when I'm writing my songs for Dude, and sorry to the other members, because it's like I already have the song accomplished,
Absolutely.
like in full, stereo, what I want.
And it's just sad that they can't be in there to hear it with you.
Yeah, and that's the, and I wish I was a better communicator, but I just assume everyone can read my mind.
No, honestly, sometimes I wish we could like take just a little pot out and throw it out and say, here's my thoughts. Listen and read.
Yeah, in 100 years, you'll be able to do that.
And that was a good question. I hope I'm not taking a question from you, but if you had a soundtrack for your life, what are some of the bands that, besides you and the bands you're affiliated with, what are some of the bands that would be on that soundtrack?
Oh, the Flamingos.
The Flamingos. Which song?
I Only Have Eyes for You.
Yes.
Todd Rundgren. Any song off of a Wizard, a True Star, or something. Anything.
Awesome.
The Pretty Things.
The Pretty Things. That's a good one.
Any song off of SF Sorrow or
Nice.
Parachute.
Right.
God, it just depends on what mood I'm in. Beach Boys. If you guys don't know the Beach Boys post Pet Sounds,
Yep.
there are 4 tremendous albums that if you're a Beach Boys fan and you
I am.
don't know about these, there's Surf's Up in Sunflower and then Friends in 2020. Are you
Yep.
familiar?
I am familiar. I actually have a history with the Beach Boys.
Oh my God, I'm jealous.
I don't have personally. My mother went to school with them.
Oh wow.
Went to high school with them
Damn.
and Jan and Dean.
That's
and
lit.
All of them. So
My grandma's just like
yeah.
obsessed, so I have
She
like
actually
no
dated
choice.
them.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. Here's a fun fact for you. We were talking about Barry Manilow
Yep.
before.
For
we went live.
you, Brooke, if you're watching, Barry Manilow.
So maybe he knows this, but Bruce Johnson, who is in the Beach Boys, who replaced Brian just to go on tour, he wrote "I Write the Songs."
Oh, I didn't know he wrote
Yeah,
that.
he wrote that, and there's 2 tremendous songs that he wrote called "Disney Girls" 1957 and "Deirdre" that are just amazing. If you're a ballad guy like I am,
Right.
holy shit,
Cool.
yeah.
So it's a hard question because if somebody asked me what the soundtrack of my life would be, there would be probably 50,000 songs on
Okay,
it.
I have like
I mean, that's just the ballad side. I haven't
Right.
even got to the rock side.
I was gonna
side
say
of
here's
it.
like a more like a pinpointed question. If you were like fighting an enemy, what song would be playing in the background?
Oh, I'm ready. By Humble Pie.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
That's a good one.
It is
Oh,
a good one.
That fires me up,
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
It fires me up.
One of the things you mentioned is your stroke, and we will get into that. Tony not only is a accomplished musician, but he's often an author as well.
New author.
He's a new author as well. He wrote this book. It's autobiography. Autobiography. And it's an autobiography of his life because Tony went through a situation when he was 28 years old that nobody wants to go through.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw out some words for you, and you tell me what that means to you.
All right.
Okay, so one of the things that I'm going to throw out is Tuesday, September 4th, 2001.
Oh, that was a rough day.
That was a rough day. Why was it a rough day?
Oh man, the day that changed my life. It started off great because my niece Angelina was born, and so I got the news that she was born, and she was born without complications. So then I went to lunch, and then came back, and I was on the phone trying to get some studio time for the Mugs, our first album, and I started losing my speech, and from there it went all downhill. And it's just the day that changed my life because I almost died that day,
Right.
And it was tenuous. The doctors told my parents that I wasn't going to survive, but I did. But
Which is good.
It was a rough road. I was completely paralyzed on my right side, and I lost the ability to speak, which is called aphasia.
Right.
So it was a rough road. 2 months in the hospital, complications with blood clots in my lungs and my legs. I just got put through the ringer.
And that was in 2001?
September 4th, 2001. And basically, it was 2 months between all my, complications of my hospital stints and rehab. It was 2 months to the day that I got discharged. And that was just, okay, you're discharged. Now it's outpatient therapy.
Right.
For years and years. And I still do physical therapy. That's part of my life. Now I just go to the gym and just run myself ragged. But
The stroke that you had was a hemorrhagic stroke.
yeah, hemorrhagic stroke, which means a brain bleed.
A brain bleed.
Yeah.
And it is a arteriovenous malformation.
Arteriovenous malformation.
Thank you
And
for pronouncing
so
that.
all that means is I was born with this, it's basically, the doctors explained it to me, that twisted up blood vessels in your head. And during the course of your life, they can just lie dormant, and you can die like a peaceful death in old age, or you can,
Blink of an eye.
you can, it's kind of like somebody turning on the garden hose, putting a knot, and just pressure.
Now, unfortunately, is this something that is genetic within your family?
No, it's not. I'm just that unlucky.
Damn.
I know. So it was just, the doctor said, why is this happening to your son? And the doctor says, sometimes it's just bad luck. It's just nature. It was just baked into my genes, but there's no.
And you came out a tough cookie.
Yeah,
I know.
Isn't that awesome? And it's you. We were talking about statistics when it comes to the this type of stroke, and it accounts for approximately 2% of all hemorrhagic strokes. And you said 15% of those live, right?
Yeah, so 85% of all hemorrhagic stroke, AVM, is result in death. So I'm one of the 15, the part of the 15% that they actually survive.
And that's so an unlucky thing that happened, but you were a lucky one for surviving it.
Yeah.
And having the group of people around you to help you.
Oh my God, my family and my friends were tremendous. In the small sample size that I did see, because these are my peeps now.
Yeah.
Some of these people are not doing well. I'm probably the top of my class in terms of that. That I can talk and I'm not wheelchair bound. And
Right.
The prognosis was, if your son survives, he's probably never going to talk or walk again.
Oh, look at you.
So
And you're playing.
Yeah,
Literally.
So somebody had to be at the head of the class. I'm glad I'm an overachiever, and I try really, really, really hard.
So because I read your book, and I know that when you had a stint on, I'm going to say it wrong, the Great American Band.
Close.
Okay.
The next Great American Band.
Great American Band.
It was an American Idol spinoff.
And you were the Mugs, right?
Yeah.
Were
Yep.
chosen to come in and audition for them.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to tell us a little about how that went? That was prior to your stroke,
That was in 2007.
or 2007 after.
So this is after my stroke, and we had a tremendous group of fans that would follow us anywhere. And so one of Danny dubbed the seven of them the Magnificent Seven after the movie. And so one of the Magnificent Seven, her name is Britannia. Britannia. It's been a while.
Oh, it's Britannia. I read
So
it in here.
she put this in front of us, and she said, "You guys are a shoe-in to get on this TV show." And so she gave us the forms, and I filled out the paperwork and sent it in. And lo and behold, in August, we're getting a call back saying one of the producers said, "We want you guys to fly out to Burbank, California, and try out for this thing."
So that was 6 years after your stroke.
Yeah,
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years, because I came back to music in September of 2003, so I was down for 2 solid years.
I would say that's a great comeback.
Oh man, and the way that happened, we can get into too. But so for those of you who don't know, my right hand is still paralyzed, so I had to I thought my career was over.
Right. Oh, I'm sure you did.
But then a wonderful musician, songwriter, probably the most prolific pop songwriter, psych pop songwriter in Detroit, Matt Smith from Outrageous Cherry and the Matt Smith Group, suggested, maybe I could play on the Fender Rhodes like Ray Manzarek with my left hand, because he loved the Mugs, and he thought we were so unique that maybe this could happen. At the time, kind of hurt my feelings. Sorry, Matt, it's not you, it's me. I was just, a little hurt, because I was really thinking that, because I was so young and I was so, so lucky that maybe I could have, like, this hand come back.
Right.
Never came back. So, year and 3 months after my stroke, I'm thinking about what Matt Smith said, and I'm like, this sounds pretty good.
Uh-huh.
So I called Danny and just asked for his permission, because
Right.
I didn't want,
yeah.
because being in a 3-piece, I always say you can't bullshit a 3-piece.
No.
So I either had to be on point and really work towards this, or it's not going to happen.
Right.
So, the overachiever that I tend to be, I work towards it. And so fast forward to the TV show now. So now we're flying out to Burbank, California. And it was exhilarating.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just being in front of those judges, and they were some of the judges that were the going to be the executive producers
Right.
for the TV show. And so we passed the first round, and then so they invite us to Lake Las Vegas for the second round,
Yeah.
which we didn't know at the time, which was the pilot for to get on the show.
Right.
And there are at this point, I think, literally thousands of bands got whittled down to 64 bands. And so we just had, we all
And
had,
you were one of them.
we all had our shot. They, they drove us down to this Crystal Lake, and they put us on this yacht, and with all these TVs, and it's like, all right, they weren't going to tell us when we were going to play. So we there were 20 bands, and we were like 19 of 20 bands. So we went out there. Man, it was a hot day, and shit didn't go right, of course, because number one, they didn't get a Fender Rhodes like I asked them to.
Right.
They had this rolling piece of shit that we couldn't figure out, with all the buttons.
I love your honesty.
It's just all the buttons,
Hey,
and
it is.
it's like, hey, I don't need all the buttons. I just need a good bass tone.
Right, absolutely.
So it was like, and here's the funny thing, because during the during our time in front of the judges, there was a time clock, and it's 6 minutes. That's all we had to set up and play. And both times we were over our time limit, and they said that, if you're over your time limit, get the fuck off stage. We don't even want to see you.
So you have 6 minutes to set all your band equipment up.
No,
and
they had
to sing?
They had backline, but you had to turn. Danny had to plug into.
And you gotta
okay.
strum a couple of times, make sure you're hearing
because they
feedback
didn't give me the Fender Rhodes like I asked. I was tasked with finding a good bass tone,
yeah,
but
for
because
sure.
I only have one hand,
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
it's Danny, and I had this road tech that was arguing with me about, this is not a bass. I'm like, you idiot, I know that. Don't you
You're like, I'm trying to tell you something.
Didn't anyone prep you on who
Right.
I am and who we are as a band?
Period. Right. Exactly.
So that was funny within itself, and I think I include that in my book. But so we finally get to playing, and we played this song called "Slow Curve" that Danny just picked out of nowhere and just threw at us, and
Right.
we just nailed it.
Oh, good.
And all the judges, I think there was Sheena East.
Uh-huh.
And the guy from Goo Goo Dolls, not sure, I forget his name. And this guy named Dicko from Australia. And it was kind of like the nice judge, the middle of the road judge, and
The mean one.
Yeah.
The
And
Simon Cowell.
and they loved us. When we were playing our song, they loved us, and they thought we were going to save the industry from turning it into a fast food.
Right.
All the shit sounds the same, kind of. But then so we make the show, and then things change. Dun dun dun.
So
We
this
had to
is your
sign
second?
We had to sign a contract like this thick,
Uh-huh.
and so the show was predicated on American Idol, 30
Right.
million viewers. So they got all the sponsorship, and they promised the sponsorship, like all of them, that 30 million viewers. So in the first, when the pilot aired, and there was only 3.5 million viewers, all bets are off, and everything changed. So, and because we signed that fucking contract, we were just
SOL.
Yeah. So it was predicated on your music, and let's see who is the best band in America. And then it was like, hey, let's do covers.
I was gonna say, yeah, from like what it seems like you're saying, it sounds like they kind of put you to the test of like, okay, we're gonna pick the bands that we personally feel like sounds great, and then wait to see what your actual following is when you get on the show, and then give you hell if it's not.
And then
what
throw
we-
you songs that aren't
And then-
within your
right, exactly.
genre to do.
Yeah, we lucked out. We got to play Bob Dylan the first week, and Danny's such a riff master that he picked the song off of Blood on the Tracks called "Meet Me in the Morning."
Uh-huh.
It's a great song, and he mugsified it with a cool riff, and we got through the first round, and so we were invited to the second round, which is Elton John. And here's where it gets tricky, and here's what people don't know about television. It's all bullshit. It's all smoke and mirrors. Mm-hmm. And these TV shows can steer you down a bad road whenever they want. And so we wanted to pick like a certain song, and they would say, no, we're giving this song that you want to another band. And then, okay, we'll pick this song. I think it was The Bitch Is Back. Standards and practices won't allow us to do that. And we're like,
Then why are you even allowing me to choose a song? Why don't you just give us a list of applicable songs that we can choose from, and then we'll go from there?
exactly. And so, and then, so we select, I guess that's why they call it the blues, but that was not our first pick or our second pick.
And that's not going to make you feel good when you're going out there, man. If the vibes aren't there, you didn't even want to play it. It's not going to show your true potential.
Yeah, and it's so unnatural because we had a coach that would come in and check on us, and we had a minute and like something so asinine like, okay, you guys have a minute and 43 seconds, no more, no less, and we have to make this work. So we had to like cut out a chorus and plug in something else, and it was just like, nope, like minute 55, you got to get it down. I don't know, figure it out. And that's not music.
Right.
That's just like Frankensteining something, and then they have the nerve to say, oh, bad selection, and
That's not
After,
fair.
yeah.
after we didn't even want that song in the first place, and we couldn't
Right.
say anything, so they can steer you down a bad road whenever they want. And it was an honor being on national
Absolutely.
television, and
Oh, I'm
that's
sure.
that's the takeaway for me.
But
And this-
it takes away from the whole experience of it's such a hard time trying to even experience the experience.
Yeah, and it was when it was like 64 bands. We all got marched into this this conference room, all 64 of us, all 64 bands, and one of the executive producers got up there and was just bitching at us, saying, I don't care if you're the next Beatles. I don't care if you're a great musician. This is about the ratings, and that just sucked the life out of it. And we could have walked away, but being in front of like potentially 30 million viewers, that could have made our career.
It could have.
Absolutely.
And this whole time, you're still recovering.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because you're experiencing seizures, you're doing during the whole time of the stress of the show as well.
Yeah.
So you're a strong person if you think about it, because
Oh,
you're dealing
thanks.
with the recovering from the stroke,
Mm-hmm.
the loss of your hand, your arm,
Mm-hmm.
and then these people who, and trust me, those of you who want to be on American Idol and different shows, it's not as fun as you think.
So-
Is it not?
No, well, it's not.
It's fun, but
it's fun as you
stressful.
make it, but they would suggest. I remember Danny had this perfect line. They would suggest that we get into fights, and Danny's like, we're the librarians of rock and roll.
Like,
And,
we're not
we love
gonna-
each
Because
other.
drama brings
Yeah,
ratings.
and so they want you to falsify, like, getting into fights. And we could have played along with that. I mean, maybe if we would have taken it not so seriously, but
But you're true to your art
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're not.
and your friends.
Yeah, and it's, yeah. So it just didn't make any sense. And here's the takeaway: this is the power of television. And sadly, when we got kicked off and we're back in Metro Detroit, some of our family and friends were like saying, like, "Well, are you going to get a new lead singer?" No, you know, they loved us when we were playing our music, and then when we're forced to play Elton
Somebody
John or
else's
Billy Joel,
on stage. Yeah.
that we have no business playing. I respect Elton John, Billy Joel,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
we're a blues rock band,
Yeah.
you know. So, but that's the power of television.
It
you know,
is. Oh,
just,
absolutely is.
and who is this guy Dicko that suggested that? He's probably flipping burgers at McDonald's in Australia again.
Probably.
I mean, he's never been heard of again. They just scooped him
I've
up
never
for
even
this
heard of
one
him
show.
then.
Yeah. So that's just, you know, fair warning. You know, it's just meant to.
Nothing is as easy as it seems.
Yeah.
Never, 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 never.
Did you have another question?
It wasn't. I have
somebody
a. I
have
have
a
a
question?
question. Yes. So I'm actually going to touch base on about
Okay.
3 things really quick.
Yep, please.
So we're actually smack dab in the middle of our show, and obviously I know a large selection of our viewers know who this lovely gentleman in the middle is. But for our viewers who have just now clicked on and who are not familiar, today we have Tony Muggs. He is a Detroit native. He has been in the East Side his entire life, and today we are talking about his autobiography.
Yeah,
Right? Did I say
autobiography.
it? Autobiography.
Like autobiography and graffiti
Mashed
sandwiched that
together.
I'm going to get it closer so
And
people can see.
I just wanted to go ahead and do a little quick recap again, just
Yep.
for our younger viewers who are about my age, or even people who have just been scrolling past their timeline and came across our live stream today. So here I have that your actual genre for the couple of bands that you are in are rock, classic rock, blues, and power pop. What exactly is power pop?
Yeah, I've not heard of that term.
Oh, power pop. Who coined that phrase?
Oh,
Power
did they?
pop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
So it's older than I thought.
power pop is the Who, the Pretty Things,
Okay.
Green Day.
Oh, really? Okay, sick.
that makes sense.
Anything of that ilk. you know.
Okay.
Melody and hooks, hooks and hooks and hooks. you
Okay,
know.
perfect. Okay, and then just to go back into a little bit about your life for something that we haven't talked about yet, but just to brush up on, you were in the Mugs for 2 decades. Was it more than 2 decades?
I'm still in the Mugs.
Still
Yeah,
in
we're
the
still a
Mugs?
band. We're just taking a hiatus because we've only been pushing for 20 years straight.
For sure.
So we decided we deserve a little break.
Absolutely, you sure do. And then also here it says that you were in and a part of the Ween tribute band as well as the Mega Weedage.
Well, that's the Ween tribute band.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
So Ween is a tremendous.
Love Ween.
Okay, so if you don't know Ween,
You should.
Yes, honestly.
I would start with the album White Pepper. And,
I would too.
And move one album forwards or backwards,
Backwards
depending.
for sure.
That's the sweet spot. So I've been in Megaweege. We call ourselves Megaweege since 2005, with my other best friend Andy Mizuraka and his brother Paul. Paul Mizuraka. Shout out to Eastside Elvis and the Offsides. We just have this tremendous lineup now with Travis. He drums, but he's been a drummer his whole life, but he's also a tremendous singer-songwriter. He's got a band called the My Ways. I would recommend you check out the My Ways. And then Mike Latcha coming at ya like a wizard on guitar. He's also in Sonic Smut
Okay.
and the Beggars. The Beggars, some of my best friends, including Mike.
Love
so
that.
it's all intertwined, Like when you're a musician in Detroit, like one band, 2 bands is enough. Like we're all in multiple bands.
Absolutely.
He says it
Absolutely.
through his book.
So yeah. So that's one tribute band. The other tribute band is called
Rattlesnake Shake.
Rattlesnake Shake.
Love that.
And that's a tribute to Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, sick.
So
You just recently played, right?
yes,
In December.
Yeah, we played it at the Kaji Cafe on December 16th, and that's all. Before the Fleetwood Mac that we all know and love, there's like 1967 through 70. A gentleman by the name of Peter Green,
Yeah.
songwriter and tremendous guitar player. He had, the Fleetwood Mac, and everyone thinks that Santana wrote "Black Magic Woman." Well, in fact, Peter Green wrote that song,
Wow.
and so that's a fun fact. But they have a couple of minor hits, like that song "Oh Well" that the Rockets from Detroit covered in the '70s, and also Jimmy Page and the Black Crowes hit on that. I think in the early aughts. So "Oh Well" is an important song if you're a blues rocker.
Heck yeah.
And "Albatross," I was telling Jason that Albatross, it's rumored that it's a gorgeous instrumental song, and it's rumored that when John Lennon wrote Sun King, that's on Abbey Road recording, that was a nod and a tribute to Peter Green.
Oh wow.
And it kind of sounds like
Sure,
Albatross.
yeah, I could totally
So
hear that.
you can, we can debate that, but I think I heard that from somebody, and it was credible.
I love that. So here it says that you actually had a book signing December 20th, 2022 in Detroit. How was that?
It was tremendous.
Was it for this?
Yeah, yep. Everyone came out.
Yeah?
And it was at the Kaji Cafe,
That's
of course.
the best when your hometown shows out, you
Yeah.
know, because Detroit, it's such a rough type of friendship. Because if you're a musician or an entrepreneur anyway, Detroit is like one of the roughest places. And earlier you and I
Yeah.
talked about that. And you need to have multiple streams of just outsourcing your hobbies and your
We're
talents.
tough on our own, but it's rewarding when you get some, when they throw you a bone. When
Absolutely.
Detroit throws you a bone. It was my first reading, and I was scared to death. So I had some of my best friends and family members come and read excerpts. But after that, I've done several other readings. One at Book Suey, one at BookBeat in Metro Detroit, one at Cafe 1923, where I
Okay.
wrote some of the book. And I've gotten better at, reading aloud, from not being able to speak
Sure.
to reading aloud. And it's a challenge, and I like a challenge.
Heck yeah, heck
So,
yeah.
So you read portions of your book at your signing?
Yeah, I do.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. And we carry the book here, and we carry his records here, and we'll show you those. And if you ever want a book signed, just call me, because I can call him. He's good at coming down and signing them for you.
Yeah, I live right down the street.
He does.
It's a couple, 5 miles maybe. Yeah.
So here it says in February 2008, you all won Best Rock Band of 2007, and then in 2008, you won the Detroit Music Awards Outstanding Rock Group. Among winning those awards, what emotions did you feel the most?
Just proud of our little rock band.
Absolutely.
Because this none of this had to happen. Big shout out to Danny Muggs for making this happen. He stuck with me during the darkest times of what I thought was the end of my career, and he put the Muggs down. You have to understand, and this is important. Imagine, Jack White putting the White Stripes down if something happened to Meg, and not knowing if you'd ever recover. That was what he did, and we were kind of a buzz band at the time.
Yeah, that's like your buddy, dude, your bestie
Yeah.
for the restie. He
Yeah.
truly seen your potential and not only just your friendship, but your talent in itself, and said, if I can't go on without my buddy, then there's literally no point in even having this.
God, it still blows me away. So he did that, not knowing if I'd ever recover. And then the way I did recover wasn't the conventional way, but I like a challenge.
Yeah.
And so I was proud of Danny because his songwriting is so tremendous, and the kid can write, and he can write, and the way he crafts the riffs around a great melody, and his interesting songwriting. I mean, the Muggs are pretty original, and we're not for everyone, but if you get us, you really get us.
Period.
And you get
If you
behind
like
us.
blues, if you like rock, you're going to like you.
Yeah, I would say we're kind of like the Led Zeppelin of Detroit.
Love that.
Oh, I like that term.
But or the Humble Pie, and
Love that.
just any kind of British blues rock.
For
'cause
sure.
those are our heroes, and that's the template that we had moving forward when we put together the Muggs.
All right, I'm going to throw out another word. You tell me. Okay?
All right,
Plane crash.
I'm okay. Oh man,
I love that. And that's a direct answer from your book.
Yeah, yeah.
You wrote a song called Plane Crash.
Yeah, back in the Fat Belly Brown days.
Yep. And what made you write that song?
I
thought it was an interesting tidbit.
Who has a plane crash in their backyard when they're young?
A plane crashed in his backyard.
Oh my gosh, yes, he told me that earlier, and honestly, I was like, oh, imagine just
Not a
like
major
reading a
airline.
book or
It
something.
was a Cessna.
Biplane,
Yeah,
a four-seater. But it was a huge explosion. I was in the backyard with my dad and my brother, and mitigating circumstances saved all of our lives because of the fireball and the debris. Who knows what?
We're turning a little on that one. for some reason.
We're leaning a little bit. Oh, also,
Sorry, Instagram.
we also, I'm sure Jason has been seeing me putz around over here with
Yes, I
this.
have.
You guys, everything is okay on Facebook. We're just going to need to rotate our phone.
Why? What's wrong?
Just because when you record on Facebook Live on your phone, it does not allow you to hold your phone sideways like this. It looks perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But you just got to rotate your phone, and people are just freaking out over it.
Oh, just turn your phone sideways.
Just turn the phone.
Yep, and it will be on there. But like I said, we're trying new equipment, and you can hear us better, so
Right.
that's a good thing.
Exactly.
And when we're talking to a musician, we got to have good sound,
Absolutely.
right?
And this is perfect. You got to go with the flow, people.
you do.
You know?
We're turning sideways on Instagram. You have to turn your phone.
Right, you got to turn sideways on Facebook. Everything's
You
good,
never know
guys.
what you're going to get with Time Warp Tuesday, right? So, so what's in store for Tony Muggs? What are we looking at for in the future?
Okay, so in terms of the hourlies, we're in the throes of mixing and producing a new record that's coming out in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start tracking Dude's third album. It's going to be called Destroy It.
Right.
And we're still no word on the Mugs. Rattlesnake Shake, we'll probably do a couple festival dates in the summer.
Right.
And Megawee just, going strong. We just played a last-minute show last Friday at the Kaji Cafe. We got a show coming up on February 10th at Lager House.
Ooh,
Oh,
love that.
nice.
Megawee and this awesome band called Winds of Neptune.
Okay.
My friends Ross and Kevin and Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just try to enjoy life. I have another book reading in March at Green Brain Comics in Dearborn.
Awesome.
And
Maybe we'll hook you up for a book reading here.
that'd be
That'd be
great.
sick, honestly, and totally doable.
Oh, absolutely. Since we have good recording stuff.
And we have a perfect space right here.
Yes, we do. So let's show some of these records. So, and you tell us when they're from, and because these we don't carry. Some of these are rare, right?
Yeah, this one, for instance, is
This is one of my favorites, and I got to tell
my
you,
God, it's so gorgeous.
We do a show from Las Vegas every time we're in Las Vegas at our Las Vegas store from the Pinball Capital, from the Pinball Museum.
So check this out. This is a pinball. This is
yeah.
and if you open it up
way is it open?
and then
This
fold
way?
it this way,
It's a pinball machine.
it's a pinball machine. And
Go ahead. Which way? Are we folding it again? Or
You just had it right.
just the
Yeah.
two like this?
yeah, and so
Oh, I see. Look at that.
see that
Isn't that cool?
Mugs pinball machine. We just have to
Isn't that
get
cool? Look
famous
at
so
that.
we can get those in production.
That'd be amazing.
That is fantastic. So when was this one from?
This was our double live album. We recorded it in 2012, and we came out with it in 2013. Sadly, there's only 500 of those floating around, and they're all sold out. So this is from my personal stash.
Your personal stash? But you never know. Go into your local vintage store. You might find one.
Yeah, or eBay,
Or eBay, or what- yeah.
Amazon.
This one.
This is 2010. This is called Born Ugly. And this is also 500 floating around out there, but out of print, sold out. So this is from my personal
Is
stash.
this one of you?
This is me, Danny, and Todd Glass.
So this is Tony here, Danny, and Todd Glass.
Todd Glass, the finest session player in Detroit. I'm just so lucky to have him as a friend, and he's been on all the Muggs albums from 2010 forward, and both of the Dude albums.
These are all recorded here? Because I know you
Yeah,
recorded
and-
some in Spain.
Didn't record anything in Spain.
Traveled through Spain.
Yeah, recorded in Detroit.
Detroit. Okay. And the Mugs Detroit. See, it says
So
Detroit right under
this
it.
is we toured with this in 2018, and this is our first album. And
First Mugs album.
Yeah, and it
Okay.
looks different. We had fun because it looks different from our CD. The CD is red, and we had an opportunity to fuck with the playlist. So it's different than the CD. But unfortunately, this one sold out too. We printed these in Spain, and
That's what it was.
and
I
we
knew
brought
something
some
was
of these
happening in
back,
Spain. Yeah.
and then we subsequently sold out of them.
Fortunately, unfortunately.
I know.
And the last ones I'm going to show you
Okay, this one
are available.
Yeah, well, this one is, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this one is.
this
and
is the-
that dude is. You can buy it here.
So we toured in Europe in 2015 with this one. It's called Straight Up Boogaloo, and we had the advantage of this is the U.S. version. So going back and forth to Europe so many times as we were lucky enough to do, we started getting smart about it. So this one is
Yeah.
solely the European version.
This is the European version of that.
Yes. So this is U.S. This is the European version.
This is the import, everybody.
Yeah,
Now-
and that's sold out as well. And you go on tour, you sell as many as you can, then you
Right.
take back as many as you can in your suitcase. And so I got online and said, this is an import. Collectors, get them while you can. And so we sold out.
So these are the
pretty
ones you want to
quick.
look for. These, eBay on at vintage stores, at used record stores, stuff like that. You want to look for these because they're out of print. And those who collect records, I ran a record store all through the 80s and 90s.
Shout out to Bellyache Records.
I was going
actually.
to ask you about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because everything is Bellyache Records, and that's here in Detroit.
But now I have a question for the wax snob in me. I have a ridiculous vinyl collection.
Shoot.
It's really trendy right now for colored vinyl to be making its way back around. Do you see any of your groups going with a colored vinyl?
Yeah. It's always an extra cost.
For sure.
So, but yeah, that's not off the table, out of the discussion.
Sure. Wasn't sure if you were trying to keep it old school and traditional with the black or.
Maybe like we've been the Mugs in particular. Our most popular album is the only album. It's called On with the Show that we have never printed on vinyl.
Oh, this would be a great
So
opportunity.
that would be if and when that happens, that'll probably be the one.
And what color schemes you thinking of doing?
Ooh, I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to let Danny decide.
Thinking that for sure.
This one?
This is our 2020 release, and unfortunately, that's also out of print.
So a lot of these are out of print, so they're worth some money.
I love the graphic that you guys chose for that back.
So
Beautiful.
that was all Danny.
So we wanted to show you these to show the history of the Mugs. I mean, there's quite an extensive musical background. The Dude. Tell me about the Dude.
Okay, so this is I've been a songwriter ever since I could put two chords together. And a good friend of mine, he's actually a Grammy Award-winning guy. His name is Bobby Emmett. I started. So Bobby had this home studio, and he says, "Oh, you got to come and record a song." And I had all these songs laying around, so I recorded one song, and it came out so fantastically. And I said, "Bobby, we got to do a whole album." And so we actually agreed on a whole album, and Kid Gloves was the result of that. This was more of a singer-songwriter when I was just picking selecting players from Metro Detroit. I'm lucky enough to know so many tremendous, talented players. So this was kind of like, I had one person say if the Beatles wrote even more songs for the White Album,
Right. It would have been here.
Yeah, it would have been here.
Would you consider this your solo?
Yes, yeah, but Autobiography,
Is
the
more
album,
solo.
is my band since 2015. I started this band and
And it's Dude as well, right?
yep, but
Yeah.
it's kind of weird with me because of who I am, and you could call it my disability, or I just fell in love with the process of recording and mixing and producing my own album.
Right.
Or my own albums.
What do you guys mean by lead guitar is sold separately?
Okay, so that's an inside joke. So, Dude couldn't keep a lead guitarist to save our lives.
LOL.
So it was. I got this. Well, so the story goes that I had this guy. His name is Matt Hammond. He's a tremendous guitar. He's the Eric Clapton of Detroit, right? He's playing with Uncle Kracker right now, and Uncle Kracker kind of stole him from me, but because Uncle Kracker has deep pockets.
Yeah.
I got a trick or treat bag with an apple with a razor
analogy.
blade and a couple pennies. Here you go. So obviously he would go, and I don't blame him.
Right.
But he solos all over this, and so the inside joke was, I can't keep a lead guitarist, so like lead guitar sold separately.
That's honestly amazing. I'm
hilarious.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
No,
off. I just seen it when he flashed it, and it just really caught
Oh
my
yeah, that's
eye.
great. So this was during the time of COVID that I completed the album, and I knew that the album and the book were going to kind of
Come out together,
be
together.
So I sat on the album, and so I had time to create content. So
Right.
that poster that you have,
Yeah, because it comes with, it's a double.
yep.
right?
So it's a full, it's a
full
12-inch album and a bonus 7-inch.
That's lit.
Single, Blue Canary and Had a Girl.
which was one of the first songs I ever wrote.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then, but it's just like a demo. But it's
Pretty
just
cool.
a charming version of me and Steven Garcia and Charlie Palazzola in Steven's magical room, and he's got an estate in Detroit, right on the Detroit River, and this room, the acoustics are
Beautiful.
to die for. So we recorded just an iPhone recording.
Yeah.
And it just worked,
You catch an iPhone on a good day, and you can get good pictures and
Yeah,
good audio.
So my good friend Brad Genza came up with that. And during COVID, I just threw him all the songs separately, and I said,
Right.
if each song was its own album cover,
What would it be?
what would it be? And I gave him a couple ideas. The Wonder Woman idea was mine, and for Tomorrow's Promise to No One, that's a song about my mom passing away.
Is that your mom?
Yeah,
That is
that's Judy.
awesome. Look, that's Judy.
Say hi, Judy.
Hi,
Yes.
Judy, we love you.
Say hi to Judy, too.
So Brad
Great
just.
tribute to your mom.
Oh man, I love that woman.
That's a great
you know.
tribute to your mom.
She I'm a mama's boy, and like she helped me out throughout my stroke, and was there every step of the way. Shout out to my stepdad.
I was going to say, in the book
Gary.
it said you went there to recover.
Yeah, like I said, my family was tremendous. My dad, Gary, who's my mom's second husband, and then my dad, Frankie, who I went to Southern California to do the rehab stint. That I'm going to talk about. I'm just so everyone knows,
Yeah.
I'm going to write another book.
Oh, are you?
It's going to be it's going to be the continuation of this.
Of this.
Yes.
Of this one.
So-
Read it. I read it today, and it actually brought tears to my eyes. And did it not? When
It
you
did.
walked in, I had tears.
So, are you a Star Wars fan? I always
Yeah.
give the Star Wars analogy. So,
Star Wars somewhat, yeah.
Autobiography is kind of like New Hope and Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next book I'm going to write is going to be, because this, coming of age, you get
Right.
your ass kicked, chopped off the hand.
Right.
It couldn't be more, I couldn't, there's so many
someone like that,
analogies.
right?
Yeah, that's Judy and
And
Gary.
your stepdad, right?
Yep.
That's so cute. I love
Judy.
how that's like the brightest
Right there.
picture on the back.
Yeah.
There's
You
an
know.
actual photo of his mother.
So to wrap almost our great show up on this wonderful Time Warp Tuesday, I just
Before
have
we do that, I do want to mention that one of the things I loved about this book more so than anything are your little top, your top ones where it says,
Oh yeah.
your stroke book.
Yeah, so I didn't
thought that
I didn't
was-
have I didn't have a title for it when I started writing it. So
Uh-huh.
I just call it Stroke Book, and I dated everything and gave a sense of like what I was doing that day and how I was feeling, and also where I was writing from.
Yeah,
be it at home,
I
at the Caju Cafe, at Cafe 1923, or Outer Limits, and all these wonderful places in the Hamtramck that I
Coffee Bake
know and
Cafe,
love.
yeah. I thought that was cool. And another thing I thought about your book that I found different was the fact that the way you wrote it, and with
Yeah.
the italicized words, and then in the back there's a to tell
Glossary.
you a glossary of all those words. So the Caju Cafe shows up in here a billion times.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole paragraph of what it is.
Oh my God, you're literally so cute. You gotta educate the people who don't know.
Educate them on what it is. I think that's great.
Yes, it is absolutely because
And-
there's someone who's like, "What is that?"
And it gave me an excuse to take liberties because I can opine about certain things that are troubling me, or I can just fuck with you.
Right.
And for instance, Satan is I defined Satan.
You did.
What is it? What do I talk about? Well, you have to pick up the
Star
book.
Wars
and,
action figure.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
well,
is.
some people really don't know,
Love
you
it.
know, and hey, just to save yourself those questions.
So if
why-
you read,
Added
yeah,
a comic element on an aspect.
it is. Like,
And I thought it was
that was my Kurt
great.
Vonnegut. You know, it's like Danny said something like that always resonates with me. He said, "You straddle a fine line of pathos in writing this book because you don't know whether to, you know, have tears in your eyes or laugh at me." And I wanted to
what you want in
have
a book.
you want it to be upbeat, even though you're getting your ass kicked.
Oh,
you know?
for sure, for sure.
And so it's kind of like, you know, Fight Club, you know, and in one respect, it's kind of like Pulp Fiction in another respect. You know, it's just so
Like-
many.
Exactly, like chapter 27 is titled Charlie Brown, The Button, JFK, and the Morphine Drip Blues. The Morphine Drip.
I had so
I
much
was-
fun
Yeah.
creating these titles for the chapters.
I did have
Love it.
one question that's been itching the back of my brain, and I wanted to ask it sooner, but I felt like I wanted to save it till the end. We've talked about it a couple times throughout the interview.
Okay.
If you had any piece of advice to any specifically Detroit born and raised musician, what would you tell them?
Know this. It is virtually impossible to make it in the music industry, but somebody has to. So you have to put all the static aside and write for yourself. And if you're true to yourself, you're not chasing something and you're just writing for the love of it, maybe, just maybe, you know, your dream will come true. And that's Tony Blue Skies talking.
That's fantastic.
And there's stars everywhere.
I know. But you're fucked. No matter what. That's an hourly song, actually.
I cannot thank you enough for coming on.
Honestly,
this was
same.
a
It was
blast.
it was a pleasure.
I had a great time. Reading your book, you should write more often. I mean, that the way it was written, the story, it should be a movie.
Well,
More
funny you
people
say
should
that.
know about
I'm
it.
talking to a friend of a friend who's in Hollywood right now, and we're working on potentially.
Are we going to see a movie, Anti-Graffiti?
Well, you never know.
You never know. So
and-
that would be cool. And
So there's always
Yeah.
there's always irons in the fire with me.
Right.
And can I say TonyMuggs.com?
Yeah,
I had to
absolutely.
I had to make a .com because who the fuck is Tony Muggs? And why should you care? So there's if you go to TonyMuggs.com,
Mm-hmm.
there's more about me, more about the book,
Mm-hmm.
and more about all the bands I'm in.
can they order from your page?
Yes,
From your website?
you can. There's links to Amazon.
Uh-huh.
But I would rather you contact me, email me directly, because then I can sign a book if
Mm-hmm. Yep.
if you're into
or
that.
come in here and we can get it for you. You're also in Kitty Deluxe, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Where
in
else you at?
Well, let's see. Booksui, BookBeat, Kitty Deluxe,
Here.
Tracks and Wax for vinyl, Found Sound in Ferndale.
Oh, good. So you can find him locally, everywhere, but come here and get it. And
Village Vinyl in
in Warren.
Yep.
It's relatively new.
I try. I'm a community guy.
Awesome.
Because we need to band together, and we're stronger
you're
with
right.
all of us.
You're right.
So, and everyone is like you are kind enough to accept me, and
Absolutely.
let's be outrageous and let's do this together.
Absolutely. I
Absolutely.
agree.
More fun together.
You're going to see more of Tony. You're going to see more of Tony on different shows as well as in concerts. Hopefully, we'll see him on big stages and huge venues.
Hopefully,
as
we
well.
can get him to play
Yeah,
a show
check
at
out
the
the
Warren
Hourlies.
Cafe.
Yeah.
The Hourlies and Dude and
Yep.
the Mugs are all on Spotify and all streaming services. So please follow us. We're
Absolutely.
not, none of us are making real money, but you never know.
The one thing I've learned in media, rather regardless of the media, you don't make any real money right off the bat.
Right? Yeah. No. Exactly.
If anything, you lose money.
You just got to keep telling yourself that you're gonna.
So the stroke you had was say it again.
Arterial venous malformation.
If you need more information on that, it'll be also on our Facebook page and our website. The contact information's on where you can find more information about it. Because not everybody knows that they have it, and you can live your entire life with it and not have any issues. But then you could, boom, like you, Out of the blue.
You know, and if you need help, just contact me.
Yeah.
By my email, tonymuggs@gmail.com. I'll talk with anyone, especially stroke survivors. If you're getting your ass kicked right now, there is a way and there is a path to success and to well-being, and maybe I can help you find it.
Absolutely. And so shoot him an email.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, that's the best way.
Yeah.
And just give me a week to 2 weeks to, craft something meaningful, because
To get
I
back
am
to you
very
with.
busy with all my rehearsals
absolutely.
and whatever.
If you need immediate information, call the Brain Aneurysm Foundation. They will give you more information. The phone number will be on there. The National Library of Medicine or National Organization of Rare Disorders, all of which handled the I am so sorry, I'm not good with long words. Say it again. The
Arteriovenous malformation.
arteriovenous malformation. It's not bad to get checked if necessary. Most of them aren't found by accident. or found
Absolutely,
by
and
accident.
don't be also afraid to ask your family members if this is something that is genetic, or maybe one of your family members, from your previous,
Yep.
bloodline has suffered from something like this, because the only way to know is if you ask, and if you don't know, there's no way for you to figure it out.
Yeah, if I would have just had an injury before this and had a CT scan, they might have detected that.
Yeah, they could have.
And then performed corrective surgery, and I could have, foregone all this drama.
Yeah.
So,
But you don't know.
yeah, you don't know. So,
It was such a good time. With
I
you today.
enjoy it.
I am
Yes,
so happy
thank
to
you.
have you on today.
So for those of you who are on Facebook, sorry you had to turn your phone sideways on it.
You'll
but,
be okay.
You'll be good, and this will be on YouTube tomorrow. Those on Instagram, thank you so much for coming, even though we were a little tilted. And give me an idea of what you think about the new sound system. If you have any questions for Tony Muggs, email him, send it through our here on our comments, or send us a message and we can get it to him.
And
and Instagram as well.
Oh, yeah,
Muggs,
he's got a lot.
Tony_Muggs.
I actually wrote all your social medias
Jesus.
down.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
I wrote all your
There's
social
dude.
medias down. I gotcha.
If you look under the invitation that I put out on here, all of his social medias, because he did share them all based off of Instagram and Facebook, so you can find the dude, you can find the Mugs, you can find
The Hourlies.
the Hourlies, as well as
Rattlesnake Shake.
Thank you,
And
Mega
Megaweech.
all of which has pages, and they all go to him. So if you have a message, but be patient, please, on the response, because he is a busy guy.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much.
All right.
And until next time, guys, see you next Tuesday.
Give him our.
Oh, yes, okay. I thought we covered it. Like, comment, and subscribe. This will literally be up right after we end Facebook Live, but it'll be available on YouTube for our YouTubers tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Again, we're still using TikTok and Threads, but it's not our main priority, since we have so much other cool things that are happening with Time Warp Tuesdays. As Jason said previously, make sure you give us a comment down below and let us know what you think of our new sound system. I know it was a little bit wonky, but holding your phone for an hour sideways, you guys will do just fine.
Just set it sideways.
Right.
Anyways, come in, grab the combo, because you can't have one without the other. I can get more of them. Tony, like he said, he lives down the road. I give him a call and he can drop some off. And if you want a autograph, either order it through his website for an autograph, or come in here and
we
I
can make
can
it
try and
happen.
contact him
Yeah.
for you.
Come here first.
Yeah.
So anyways, thank you guys so much. Have a good night, and we will talk to you soon.
See you next Tuesday.
Bye.